The webinar will begin shortly. Hello and welcome to the Miria Systems webinar. Today we will be talking about intelligent capture and even more specifically about accounts payable. My name is Beatrice Heiner. I'm a sales executive here at Miria Systems, and I have Sean Patrick Scott with me. Sean is a Datacap technical consultant. Sean's going to be doing a demo for you of the Datacap accounts payable product, and I will start off with some slides introducing intelligent capture and Datacap, as well as do a few customer examples. We'll talk about next steps and then do a Q&A session. So during the presentation and demo, if you have questions, please click on the Q&A panel and go to My Q&A tab, and then click on the field and type in your questions. We will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. So with that, let's get started. Again, introductions. My name is Beatrice Heiner. I'm a sales executive here at Miria Systems, and with me is Sean Patrick Scott, and Sean is our Datacap technical consultant here. So let's talk a little bit about Miria Systems and give you an overview and background on us. Miria has been a strategic IBM partner for 15 years, a Datacap partner for 6 years, and has literally delivered over 100 solutions that have helped different organizations with their business processes. So some of the industries that we work in are manufacturing, banking, insurance, energy, and government. And certainly if you'd like more information on Miria Systems, you can visit us on the web at miriasystems.com. Now a little bit of background about Datacap. So IBM acquired Datacap in August of 2010, and Miria was a Datacap partner prior to IBM's acquisition of Datacap. IBM made a strategic decision to purchase Datacap to strengthen its leadership position within the ECM space. And now with the release of version 8, IBM has totally integrated Datacap into its suite of products. As you can see, Datacap is utilized in a wide variety of industries, and many of these are the same industries that Miria has expertise in. The Datacap Taskmaster 8.0 provides functionality that includes departmental, branch, and network or web-based functionality. It has extensive reporting capabilities. This is great for management because it allows a manager to see how many documents or batches someone has processed. One of the main differences between Datacap and its competitors is user-based pricing. This is not a per image or per click model. It is a per person and or per seat model. So again, it has the same robust configurable solutions as version 7. And Datacap is easily configured, so some of the burden of IT is removed here. Datacap is available in a thin and or thick client. The thin client is a web-based application that's easily deployed and is truly scalable enterprise solution where a document from anywhere in the world can be scanned, verified, and then stored in a content repository or any other back-end solution that you may have. Here is a picture of what the enterprise capture solution kind of looks like. So it allows you to import from multiple sources. So it accommodates paper, fax, email, and electronic documents. It offers many recognition methods like automated document ID, validations, and productivity features. And it handles a variety of document input and assuring that the accurate data extraction. So it delivers data and documents to all other systems that power your enterprise. Rule Runner Service empowers customers to orchestrate the capture processes, pick and choose OCR engines, lookups, releases, and that's all done without programming. This slide gives you an idea of what the capture process looks like. So we are taking documents that have been faxed, mailed, or emailed in and scanning them or importing them into the system for OCR, ICR, OMR, and barcode recognition, as well as verification and processing. At this point, the document is also being deskewed and cleaned up for easy viewing, the information extracted, and or the document can then be stored in a variety of systems, including FileNet, where it is easily retrieved and searchable. So let's get into more specifics about Datacap and accounts payable. So Datacap accounts payable is used by organizations to help reduce or eliminate data entry and automatically calculate both line items as well as total math calculations. Taskmaster AP can work with ERP systems like SAP to do data lookup and auto-populate vendor name, address, PO number, and data types. Only exceptions to this process are sent to the operator for review. The operator will then verify the information and make any changes needed, and then process the batches. Any exceptions are rerouted to management for review and change. So Taskmaster AP has reporting capability at the management level so that there's a clear picture of where all invoices are within the process, as well as monitoring the output from each operator. So when you look at Datacap, a lot of people are going to say, okay, well, how am I going to achieve my return on investment here? With intelligent capture, you can reduce the cost of transportation, so the shipping of invoices, by being able to scan remotely and reduce the need to ship documents overnight. You can reduce labor costs by eliminating manual data entry and the cost of document capture. So now only you're looking at the exceptions being handled instead of each line item or piece of data. So if you're looking at this, it also, now you don't have errors on numbers, you don't have errors on IDs, and you also gain some more return on investment when you look at the compliance piece as well. Now, all of the documents are now currently stored in and easy to find. There's also a savings when you're scanning. It takes much less time to scan documents into the system. You no longer need to have barcodes scanned to separate documents, and you do not need to have the documents prepped. So this can actually save you almost up to 50% in your cost of capture. You also now have the ability to standardize on one vendor, allowing you to reduce license fees, maintenance costs, and allow for additional volume-based pricing. So with that, and with this overview, I'm going to hand over the microphone to Sean, and Sean is going to go through our Datacap demonstration. And at the end, I'll come back and talk to you about next steps and how to go forward. So with that, here's Sean.
Thank you very much, Beatrice, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Patrick Scott. I'm a Datacap technical consultant with Miria Systems. And what I'd like to show you today is basically a demonstration of how we're able to automatically ingest invoices, extract all of the data from the invoices, including line item information, and turn that into data that we can use for your ERP system and automatically process invoices without any human intervention. For this demonstration, I'm going to scan in a couple of invoices, and here are some of the examples, just to give you an idea of what we'll be working with today. So what I'm going to do is bring up the Datacap user interface. And this is what a typical user would see when they log in at Datacap. It's broken up into two windows. Above we have the operations window, and that shows you the different functions that are available for a user. Typically, you would see scanning operation and verify operation. The scanning allows us to ingest paper documents using a scanner or ingest virtual documents that might be emailed in or faxed in or come from another electronic source. The verify operation delivers the information that we've captured to an end user for verification. In many cases, if the information was read with 100% accuracy, the invoice would never go to the verification step. It would bypass it and go directly into our ERP system for posting. Some of the other operations that are available in this window are what we call background processes. Datacap does a lot of background processing, including image enhancement. And by image enhancement, what I mean by that is if the document was scanned in crooked, we straighten it out, or deskewing. We also do despeckling, which if there's a lot of little dots or background noise in the image, we clean that up. We also do line removal. So in invoices, oftentimes there's lines and grids around some of the information we want to capture. So we automatically remove that so that we can increase our recognition rate. There are some other background processes that can be configured in Datacap to automatically write this data to your ERP system, as well as write the documents to a document repository like FileNet P8 or Microsoft SharePoint. So also in this window, you can see what we call the job monitor. This shows all of the batches of documents that are outstanding or where they are in the process. So typically, an end user would be verifying some of the information within a batch or putting batches on hold. It allows you to actually go back and redo work if needed. So this is all the information, all the batches that are outstanding as part of our Datacap process. So for this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and scan in those invoices that I just demonstrated. And we are now ingesting them into the system and doing some of that background processing I mentioned where we're cleaning up the image. Most importantly, what we're doing is OCRing that information. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the background process. Typically, an end user will not see this process. It will automatically be delivered to the server. We'll do things like OCR, all of the information, as well as that image enhancement that I spoke with, as well as do some data validation and some business rules. We might capture, say, the invoice number and do a lookup in our ERP system to see if this invoice has already been processed, and if it is, maybe kick it out as an exception so that it doesn't go through the normal process, but maybe it delivers it to accounts payable clerk to say, we've already paid this, alert the vendor. So as the background process is going on, as I said, most likely you would never see this process, or an end user would not see this process. It's an automated background process. So now that that's complete, you can see the status has been updated in the job monitor to the verify step. And I'm going to demonstrate the verify step so that you get an understanding of how the process works. In a lot of cases, when we read all the information accurately, it will skip the verify step and go directly into our ERP system. But for the demonstration, I'm going to deliver all of the information that we've captured in the background process to the end user so that you can see how the process works. So this is what we call the verify application. You can see it's broken up into two windows. The window on the right is the image viewer. This is the scanned in paper document that we captured. On the left-hand side, you'll see it's our data entry or data verification screen. And for accounts payable, it's broken up into two areas. One above is the header information, and below is the detailed line item information. And as you can see, some of the user interface is somewhat color coordinated. And let me explain that in more detail. These green colored fields means that we read using the OCR engine with 100% accuracy. So from a verify operator standpoint, they can look at that and say, I don't need to verify that. It was obviously read with 100% accuracy. But you can see down here there's a data entry field that's in yellow. That's saying that we read it below our 95% confidence level. And in this case, it's highlighting the number 1 in red. And if you can see, it read it as 2100. And just above the data entry area, we call that piece of information a snippet. And when that is essentially a cut and paste of the invoice where that information was captured. So when I click on this, I can easily see what I need to verify. The number one is highlighted in red. The snippet displays that information and also highlights it in yellow. And I can see, in fact, that it did read it with 100% accuracy and that it is 2100. It's also important to notice that in the image viewer, we've also highlighted the line item when I clicked on it, as well as the unit price in the image viewer, and that quickly shows the verify operator where that information is being captured, so that they don't have to look around in an invoice for the data that needs to be verified. So let me go back into our data entry area. That shows you how things are color coordinated. If for some reason a field did not pass our validation, that would be highlighted in red. Like let's say we did not find the vendor in our vendor master table. That would be highlighted in red for a verify operator to correct. And they can easily correct the information in our data entry screen. For example, let me just clear out the vendor and put in the letter S. We have the ability to look up a vendor from a vendor master table, a list of vendors. So here I just put in the letter S and I got back a hit list of all the vendors that begin with S, and that allows me to just select that particular vendor directly from our master table. And if you notice, it also pulled back the vendor number from our vendor master table. What that allows you is many vendors will not include on the invoice your internal vendor number, but we're able to do database lookup as part of that background process, as well as inside this user interface to pull that information from external databases so that when we pass this to our ERP system, we're able to process that with the vendor, our internal vendor number, and along with all the other information that we captured. So you can see here for our header information, we capture key information like remittance zip code and vendor name, and we use that to get our vendor number. We're also able to classify our invoice types by any various types. In this case, we have PO, non-PO, and credit memo. We also capture the invoice date automatically, the number, the tax, and the invoice total. Now you can see here all of these fields are in green, which means we read that with 100% accuracy, plus we validated all the data. What's important to notice that we do line item validation. So we automatically check what we read for the quantity and what we've read for the price equals the line total. And beyond that, we take all of the line totals and sum that with the tax amount and the shipping amount to make sure that it matches the invoice total. If it didn't, that information would be in red, and a verify operator would know that they had to correct some information to make sure it was accurate. So not only are we double checking the OCR work, but we're also double checking the vendor's invoice to make sure that they've actually had everything correct in the invoice as well. Along with the header information, we can verify the line item information, and I can scroll through line by line through the invoice to verify the data. You can see all of this has been read with 100% accuracy. Everything has been checked from our validation standpoint. And I'm going to go ahead and process this invoice. So in most cases, this would never go to an end user. It would be processed automatically by the system since we validated and verified all of the data. Again, here's another vendor that I like to show. We have a field that's highlighted in yellow. That's telling the verify operator that perhaps it didn't pass our field validation. In this case, there's an ampersand on the invoice number. We don't want to capture that information. So a verify operator can just modify that, validate it, and it's now passed our validation. Now I just use that as an example. Most likely if you didn't want to accept a pound sign, there's a way to configure the system to say only look for numbers or only look for numbers and dashes and remove everything else. So there's the ability to automatically clean that up so that it could be automatically processed. I just wanted to demonstrate you how we do some field validation as well as explain that we can put those business rules logic into the application to automatically do that removal. Again, I can go through the line items. You can see all the information was read with 100% accuracy, including header and line item information. I'm going to go ahead and process this invoice. Again, this probably would never have been delivered to a verify operator since it was read and validated along the process, the background process. Now this invoice would be delivered to a verify user because this field is highlighted in red, and that's telling us that it did not pass data validation or field validation. In this case, it flagged the invoice date, and it's saying that it's a invalid date. And if you can see, February 29th is a leap day, but 2009 is not a leap year. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is change that to a leap year, validate my data, and now it's past validation. You can see all of the fields are highlighted in green, which means everything is past validation. If for some reason I change that to another non-leap year, it would be flagged as red again and said did not pass validation, and it would not allow me to move the next one unless I override it. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and process this invoice. We read everything correctly. We corrected the business rule of a valid date. I'm going to go ahead and process this invoice. Again, here's just another typical invoice. It's asking me to just verify that this is a hyphen. I can automatically take that out if I needed to. And it did read all of the information with 100% accuracy, including finding the vendor number by the vendor name. I'm going to go ahead and process this invoice. Now here's a brand new vendor that's come into our system. We have very little information automatically captured by Datacap at this point because it's a new invoice or a new vendor invoice. What I'm going to show you is how an end user can easily enter into the system a new vendor invoice so that the next time this vendor comes through, we will read it with 100% accuracy or close to it based on the end user just clicking on where that information is captured. And it's very simple to do. What I'm going to do is click on the zip code first, and now the system knows exactly where that field information is stored on the invoice. And what I'm going to do is say that's a new vendor. That's going to highlight that. And if you notice just below the new button, there's a icon of a fingerprint. Datacap captures fingerprint information for an invoice so that it remembers exactly where all of the information is stored on the invoice so that the next time that document comes through, it knows where to pull all of the information. You can also see, even though we just saw this invoice, we use the OCR technology to pull certain information. For instance, we've already captured invoice date, and that's because the OCR engine looked for this string, invoice date colon, and pulled that, as well as the invoice number. It looked for the tag invoice number colon and pulled the invoice number, as well as invoice total. It looks for the field total colon and extracted that information. It also captured shipping based on the string shipping colon. So I didn't have to enter that information. The OCR engine automatically pulled that, but there is some information that we're going to have to tell the system where that's located. And in this case, zip code is one of those fields. Also, I'm going to go ahead and look up this vendor by the letter S so that I can pull from the vendor master the vendor ID information that we need to capture. So I was able to do a database lookup, select the correct vendor, and pull back information like vendor number. So now I know that this invoice is for Stewart Apothecary, and here's the vendor number. We've already captured all the other header information. So I now have to tell the system where I can find line item information. So what I'm going to do is add one line item. And if you notice, I am just going to click in the image viewer where that information is stored. And you can see with Datacap's click and key technology, it automatically extracted that information, OCR'd it, you can see it captured it here, as well as it took that snippet information where that information is captured. So right now I did not have to key any information, I just simply clicked on the image viewer. Again, I'm just going to click on the quantity, the item description, the price, and the line total. So for this first line item, I did not key any information. I simply just clicked on the first line on the invoice in the image viewer, and it automatically extracted that information, as well as it remembers where in that invoice that information is located. So now I have the ability to click on this Find Details button. And what that's going to do is analyze the entire document, both pages of the document, and it pulled 23 line items automatically. So I didn't have to key in any of that information. You're looking at thousands of characters would have had to been keyed in to enter that information. I just simply clicked on the Find Details button, and it went and found every line item, not only just the first page, but also the second page. So we now have 23 line items automatically captured, and I can go ahead and view that information if I needed to validate it. You can see here, here's the 23 line items, here's all the item IDs, here's the description, the quantity, the price, the line total. Now all of this is also being validated. Each quantity times the price has to equal the line total. If it didn't, it would be highlighted in red saying invalid. Not only that, we take all the line totals and we validate that it equals the invoice total. So you can see here I was able to automatically extract all of that information by just clicking on the image viewer, pulling all the line totals, doing all my business rules, all my business logic to make sure that everything adds up correctly. And now I just validated that all the line totals equal the invoice total. If you see now, everything is in the green color. So right now, when I go ahead and process this invoice, it's going to capture all of the information, send it to my ERP system, and also update the Datacap system with all of the pertinent information so that the next time this vendor comes in, we know where all that information is captured, and this will be processed automatically and probably not touched by an end user. So I'm going to go ahead and process this document, and that's our final invoice. And now the batch is going to be processed in the background to update our ERP system and store the document in our document management system. So that's all I have for the demonstration. I'd like to turn it back over to Beatrice, and she can explain more of our services. Thank you very much.
Sean, thank you very much for that demo. And right now, we'd like to talk about next steps and how you can get started with Datacap. So, Miria Systems has a project methodology that helps speed up the process. We come in and we install the product in conjunction with doing the detailed um, requirements. Then we take those requirements and configure the system. So it's a rapid approach to the project. We have an extensive background of FileNet, so we understand both of the systems really well. We also work with other systems in the back end to integrate with Datacap so just a wide variety of different environments, a wide variety of systems here. Now, this approach can be used not only with accounts payable, as we've talked about, but with many other types of data processing and data capture solutions. So, if you look at this with medical claims forms, legal, those types of things, we've done projects with DataCap in all of those areas. So, all of our projects are currently done with a fixed price scope, and we work on getting a rapid return on investment for you here. We also have another solution. If you have not started with DataCap and or selected a specific technology, we come in and we can look at all of your processes. We can define where your ROI is going to come from and give you an estimate on how long it will take to achieve your ROI. We see where it makes sense to add a scanning solution, and we look at all your options and all your back-end technologies and decide which one is going to be the best solution for you. So this is a 2 to 3 week project, and we deliver it on, again, a fixed price and fixed scope. So with that, I'd like to move into the questions portion of our webinar. Looks like we already have a few here, so we're going to start with those. If you need to leave the webinar at this point, I'm going to put the next slide up. That has my contact information along with Sean's contact information. And please don't hesitate to give us a call or send us an email with anything that we may be able to help you with. So with that, I'm going to start with the questions.